Silence for first 3 seconds. December 17th, 1903. The wind is relentless, tearing across the sand at over 20 miles an hour. To the few fishermen and life-saving crews along this remote coastline, it is just another bitter winter morning. But for two brothers from Dayton, Ohio, this wind is the key to unlocking a dream as old as humanity itself. Orville and Wilbur Wright are not wealthy industrialists. They are bicycle mechanics. And right now lies their obsession, the Flyer. Most of the world believes heavier-than-air flight is impossible. The New York Times has suggested it might take 1,000,000 years. But the Wrights aren't listening. In just minutes, Orville will climb aboard, and the world will never be the same. The journey began years earlier with gliders. They built wind tunnels, measured lift and drag, perfected every detail. The wing fabric, 100% cotton muslin used for women's underwear, had 209 threads per square inch. Nothing was left to chance. Then came the engine. Unable to find a suitable motor, they asked employee Charlie Taylor to build one from scratch. In just 6 weeks, he created a 12-horsepower engine weighing 180 pounds. No spark plugs, contacts sparked inside the combustion chamber. To avoid torque that would spin the aircraft sideways, they crossed one chain so the propellers turned in opposite directions. The pilot controlled the machine by shifting his hips in a cradle, warping the wings to turn. It was brilliant and dangerously unstable. By 1902, their glider had proven the controls worked. Now they only needed power. On December 14th, they made their first attempt. Wilbur won the coin toss. He took off from a rail on a sand dune, but he pulled up too sharply. The Flyer stalled and crashed after just 3.5 seconds, only 105 feet covered. Damage was slight, but repairs took 3 days. The wind was their ally now. They laid the rail on level ground. December 17th, wind averaging over 20 miles per hour. Stronger than they wanted, but it would provide the airspeed. Wilbur had already had his chance. This time, it was Orville's turn. At 10:35 a.m., the engine roared. A restraining wire held the Flyer back as propellers bit the air. Then, release. 12 seconds, 120 feet, shorter than the wingspan of a Boeing 747. But history was split in two. They flew 3 more times that day. Second flight, 175 feet. Third flight, 200 feet. Then Wilbur took the fourth and final flight. 59 seconds, 852 feet, over a quarter of a mile. The landing was bumpy. The front elevator supports cracked, but they had done it. Minutes later, a powerful gust caught the Flyer, tumbling it end over end. It would never fly again. The brothers shipped the wreckage back to Dayton, where it sat in crates for 9 years. At one point, Wilbur suggested they burn it. In 1912, Wilbur died. Orville kept the machine, but a bitter battle was brewing. The Smithsonian refused to acknowledge the Wrights as first. They championed Samuel Langley, whose aircraft had failed 9 days before. Glenn Curtis, embroiled in a patent war with the Wrights, modified Langley's failure and flew it in short hops. Orville was furious. In 1928, Orville sent the Flyer to the Science Museum in London. He told the Smithsonian, "Honour us, or lose it forever." It remained in London for 20 years, hidden in an underground bunker during the Blitz of World War II. In 1942, the Smithsonian finally issued a formal retraction, admitting publicly that the Wrights were first. In 1948, the Flyer came home, by Navy carrier to New York Harbor, then trucked to Washington. Orville didn't live to see it. He had passed away that January. Today, the Wright Flyer rests in a place of honor at the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C. In 1985, curators carefully restored the aircraft, replacing the fabric to ensure it would survive for another 75 years. In 1969, Neil Armstrong carried a piece of the original wing fabric and wood to the surface of the Moon. It was the first time a piece of Earth's aviation history traveled to another world. In 1986, another piece was aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger on its final, tragic flight. Those pieces were recovered and are now on display in North Carolina. In 2021, a swatch of that same cotton muslin was attached to the Mars helicopter Ingenuity. There, on a distant planet, a piece of the 1903 Wright Flyer became the first aircraft to fly in the skies of another world. From the sand dunes of Kitty Hawk to the dusty plains of Mars, the legacy of the Wright Flyer endures. 2 brothers, 12 seconds, 120 feet. It wasn't much, but it was the start of everything. Here is a clip of Wright Flyer.
It was as recently as December 17, 1903, that Wilbur and Orville Wright made man's first sustained flights in an engine-driven airplane at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in the United States. Alberto Santos Dumont, on September 13, 1909, the Brazilian pioneer airman, made the first airplane flight in all Europe. The first United States airmail service was begun on May 15, 1918, between New York City and Washington, D.C. It was only 26 years ago, within the easy recollections of men living today, that the first flight across the Atlantic Ocean was accomplished. 4 United States Navy flying boats left Newfoundland on May 16, 1919. Only one of these reached England 15 days later.
Click the subscribe button. Then, click the bell icon and select all to get every notification.